I have been thinking lately of defensive tackles on our team and wanted to do a special comment to ask Mr. Jerry Jones one crucial question. Do you have something against defensive tackles? Okay, maybe I should rephrase that. Do you think defensive tackle is just another position on the line, or do you believe that it is the most important spot on the defense due to it being the initial point of contact on all plays? It seems like nose tackle has a job to do on every single snap, not like cornerbacks walking around on running plays, or defensive ends pulling contain duty on sweeps to the opposite side. Defensive tackle has a major role on every single down. So why, Mr. Jerry Jones? Why do you continue to neglect this position? Fergie was traded away without the slightest whimper from the organization or fan base. Now, even at his advanced age, he's anchored the number 3 defense in the league last year with Parcells in Miami. Now, Mr. Jones, I do give you some credit for realizing that we needed to address the position by acquiring a defensive tackle last year. What I question is judgment. We all know in this culture that we love, stars' value steadily increase for the amount of trouble we seem to get into. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It just means more people are saying your name. And that's it. Enter Tank Johnson. Although he gave us some quality snaps, we must know that we put our hopes in an overvalued, overhyped player. Again. Now he's gone and basically called out our team as a bunch of quitters. We still have not had an actual football thought on to acquire another quality defensive tackle. So I ask you, if this position is so important, why do we expect an undersized defensive end in the eyes of most to be able to take this type punishment throughout the season and still be fresh in December? We love Jay Ratliff. He's the biggest fighter on the team, but you can't keep putting him at a physical disadvantage and expect him to fight through it on every single down. If you want to keep him there, so be it. At least get him some quality help. But personally, Mr. Jones, it is hard for me not to wonder why. Why you have not thought of putting a massive body in that position. I know we all asked the same question when Wade brought the Phillips 3-4 to Dallas. And Wade said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We'll work with what we have." Exactly what a good coach should think. It is the GM's job to recognize what he needs to put his coaches in the best position for success. If you look at Wade's defenses in the last 19 years, you'll see that he's gotten the job done with massive and undersized defensive tackles. However, he has been more consistent at a higher level with massive defensive tackles. Take a look at Denver. He inherited Greg Cragen, who could have been, possibly, the hardest working player in the history of the NFL. He was undersized, like Ratliff, with a super high, never say die motor. 190 tackles at the defensive tackle position in 1988 still makes you wonder if you're reading that stat correctly. Wade got the job done with him, but the overall defense was inconsistent. They ranked 3rd in 89, then down to 21 in 90, back up to 5 in 91, then down to number 22 in 92. As head coach, his D stayed low at number 19 in 93. He knew he had to get bigger at defensive tackle and brought in Ted Washington, one of the biggest players ever, 6'5", 365 pounds, with the uncanny ability to suck the oxygen away from a center and 2 guards on a single play. It was too late for Denver. The powers that be forced the 4-3 onto Wade, and they ended up finishing number 28th, last in the league at that time. Wade took Washington with him to Buffalo to help put together, in my opinion, Wade's best defensive team. In 1995, they were number 13th. In 96, they were up to number 9 and held that same position in 97. As head coach of the Bills, he finished number 6 in 98, 1 in 99, and number 3 in 2000, all with Big Ted at the nose tackle position. That, ladies and gentlemen, is consistency. That same pattern continues in 02 as defensive coordinator of the Falcons. He had a smaller defensive tackle in Ed Jasper, 6'2", 293. With him, the Falcons finished 19th in total defense that year, then 32nd, again last in the league, in 03 as interim head coach. San Diego scooped him up to run their squad, and he turned them into another constant powerhouse 3-4 defense. Inheriting a pretty bad D in San Diego, he had the Chargers finishing 18th, 13th, and 10th in 04, 05, and 06 respectively. However, he had a massive human being in Jamal Williams, 6'3", 348. Stats don't lie, Mr. Jones. It is apparent that the Phillips 3-4 defense works better with a massive body in the middle, yet we seem to generally neglect that position for the past 3 years. Why, Mr. Jones? Are you really intent on making us better, or are you just creating a charade by making questionable moves and spinning them so successfully that Ari Fleischer and Scott McClellan would claim the use of an illegal substance? Voodoo. The jig is up, Mr. Jones. All fingers point towards you this season, not players and not coaches. While you are holding them accountable, we as fans are holding you accountable. You, sir, are the decider. The person that creates the culture for the team. If you cannot produce a winning culture in Dallas, you too will be on the short leash with the fans. This is the year, Jerry. Show us you are worthy of that GM position like you've shown us for years that you truly deserve to be the owner. If not, is it so hard for you just to hire a GM? Good night, and go Cowboys.